Okay, so now we're in the next part. I've been losing my voice periodically today and coughing, so I'll see if I can get through this as quickly as possible. So we have our painted beetle. Um, I did not do as good of a job as probably you did, as I'm noticing now. I didn't get very close to the logo here, but we're just going to go with it because we got to get things moving. So hopefully you downloaded one of the backgrounds, same place as you got the beetle and the logo. So if not, grab a background that goes along with your car. So use your elements of design, color, come up with a color scheme that works. Okay, so figure out what will work best for you. So my car is painted. I've got paint here and car here. If I went to move this now, the paint and the car would separate from each other. And I certainly don't want that because I would be moving it. If I want to move the whole thing, as you can see, I'm moving the paint off of the car. And that's not ideal. So what we're going to do is we are going to flatten this layer. But before you do that, make sure you save this as is and leave it like that, just in case something crazy happens and you need to go back to this version where the two layers are apart from each other. Okay, so do a save as and name it whatever you want, like layered beetle or whatever, before you move on. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flatten this layer so that I'm going to get the two layers together. So I'm just clicking on this little menu here. I'm going to go down and I'm going to click flatten image. And now I just have one image. And so I'm going to go ahead and name this, and I'm sure as soon as I start typing it's going to kick me out of this again, but we'll do the best we can. So I'm going to name it Painted Beetle. And as expected, it kicked me out when I started typing. That's really weird. Anyway, so it's Painted Beetle. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to go ahead and do File, Save As, save it on my computer. I'm going to save it someplace other than my downloads. I'll do Documents, Painted Beetle as a Photoshop document, and save. I still have my separate things saved together. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to go ahead and open up my background that I'm going to use. So in order to do that, I'm just going to click File, Open. And I'm going to choose my background that I downloaded. I kept that in backgrounds. I chose the gray background. I'm going to open it. And that's what I have here once I move it. Okay, so how I got that there. Let me go ahead and get rid of this layer for now. I forgot that I had already done that. Okay, so when I open my gray background, that's going to be it. My painted beetle is still over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I can do this a couple of different ways. I can grab the tab and spread it apart and have two different things. Grab this and drag it on there. Or, let me put this back. I can do File, Place like you did before when you were doing the sandwich. So I'm going to do File, Place, and I'm going to place Embedded because it's not linked. We talked about, or we haven't talked about yet, but we'll talk about embedded versus linked. Place Embedded. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the painted beetle that I just saved. That's in Documents. Click on that and place it. So there it is, Painted Beetle. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on my arrow key at the top, click on that, and that places it in place. So now I have 2 layers again. I have my painted beetle, which is my merged beetle together, and then layer 4. I'm going to go ahead and rename that. I don't know why it named itself layer 4, probably because it's the 4th thing I've done today. So I'm going to name it. Okay, so now we have our 2 layers. I want to select out just the car so that the car's on the background and not on the white part. I'm going to grab my magic wand. Remember, it is underneath the quick selection tool. Perhaps you had that selected from last time. Hold it down, magic wand. There are other tools you could use to do this, but I want to show you how to use the quick mask, and that's why we're doing it this way. So I've clicked on the white part. Now I'm going to go up to the top, do select inverse, so that I just have the car selected. Now, if I was to go to my mask now and add it down here, I would still have all this part included in it, and I don't want that part. I've got to get rid of it. So a way that I can do that is with the quick mask tool. And all I do for that part is I just hit Q on my keyboard. And as you can see, I selected inverse incorrectly. So now I'm going to hit Q again, get rid of that. I think with all my back and forth and re-recording because my dog was making noises, I got sidetracked. All right, let me try that again. Q, and now I have the out part selected. It's not really pink. I mean, it is pink, but it's just showing you what you have selected. And if I was to click on the mask right now, I'd still have all this white part left. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my paintbrush, make sure black is my color selected, and I'm going to make my paintbrush hair bigger. And what I want to do is fill in all the white part, and even though I have black selected, it's going to be masking that part with pink. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom way in, and what I want to do is paint out everything except the car. Okay, so that's what you're going to do in this part. You're going to paint out everything except the car. I'm going to do that for a moment, and then I'll meet you back in a second. Okay, we're back through the magic of television. I've done all this part pink in here. Have I done it perfectly? No, because I was trying to get it done. But get it as close as you can do. So once I've done that, I'm going to hit Q again, because notice it's pink here, and if you ever notice you can't do anything and you notice that it's pink there, the layer is pink. That's why. Okay, so hit Q again. And you'll notice those dancing ants have moved themselves to giving me a closer edge around the car. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But my point is to try to show you how to do this, not to get it perfect for me. I want you to do the best you can with it. Okay, so now that I have that selection made, I can go down here and add my mask. And in case you can't see it, it's that rectangle with the small circle in the center of it. That's your mask. So I'm going to add my mask, and you'll notice that it is on the background. Well, now I'm going to need to resize it. Okay, so notice my car is taking up the whole thing, and the example that you saw in the tutorial is not taking up the whole thing. We've got a spotlight here in the background, and we want to get the car in the spotlight. So notice here that I've got another thumbnail now for my mask. Make sure that this is selected, that my layer is selected, and I'm going to resize it. The reason that there is a little paper clip here is the mask is clipped to the car so that I'm not going to be moving them separately from each other. I'm not going to be seeing, when I move this, I'm not going to be seeing the part that I've hidden with the mask. Remember, when you're masking something, it's like when you put a Halloween mask on. Your face doesn't disappear. It's still there. It's just being covered. Same with this mask. The background didn't disappear. It's just being covered. And as long as this is linked, everything is going to work out fine. If you undo that link, you're going to have kind of a mess with you, and that happens sometimes, and that will be the first thing that you look at. Okay, so I want to resize this. So I'm going to click on my selection tool at the top, and I'm going to click Control T. Okay, so for me it's Command T, Control T. And you'll see, and just like when you were resizing your items for your sandwich, that you're going to resize your beetle. So you're going to grab a corner. If I grab a side, it's working okay now, but sometimes if you grab a side, if you don't do it just perfectly, it's going to do it out of proportion. So grab your corner and then move it in place where you want it. Excuse me. And hit your selection tool, and it's perfectly on there. If you see this little line, this tiny little line there, we're going to want to get rid of that. And so that's when you're going to use your eraser, and you're going to make sure that you are on the correct layer when you use your eraser. Of course, it's not letting me erase right now because I am not on the eraser on the layer I want to be on. So anyway, that will make that go away. From this point on, I think you should be fine. So what I'm going to do, I want to erase that line. Let me backtrack a little bit because I didn't do it. You need to be clicked on your mask layer. Make sure you've got your eraser chosen. Pick a decent size and then go on here and it will go away. Okay. The reason it didn't the first time is because I had my car layer selected and not the mask layer. I mean the car thumbnail and not the mask thumbnail. Okay. So you're going to resize it, place it the way you want to place it. From this point, it should be relatively easy for you. You're going to select your logo, place it, resize it, add your text, and then complete it, save it, and turn it in, and that should be a wrap. So probably the longest part was actually painting the thing, and then after that, it should go relatively quickly, and so you should be able to get this done by the end of class.